Welcome to The Kid is in School, where we talk about whatever we want since our kid is not here to interrupt us. But we don't have a lot of time before the bell rings, so let's get right into it.
Oh, it's Black Friday time.
It is Black Friday time.
Yeah, did you have any great deals that you're ready for?
I don't have any deals I want right now. There's nothing good anymore. Do you ever feel that way?
There's nothing good anymore? I feel like that's what all the American people think right now.
Every day of my life is Black Friday when you can get a deal online. So the Black Friday deals specifically don't wow me.
Well, it depends. Like I'm pretty good at finding good deals. Like I'm exclusively online. I have no interest in doing any Black Friday deals where I have to go, get trampled out.
Well, you have to do a Rocky IV style workout to get ready for real in-person Black Friday shopping. You know what I mean? You have to be pulling logs.
Yes.
To represent when you were going to pull that refrigerator out from under somebody else.
Now, Yeah, it's it amazes me that some people's yearly tradition is to whatever hassle and trouble people put themselves through.
What is that mindset? Because nobody thinks they're going to get got. Everybody thinks they're going to be fastest and strongest. But whenever you see the footage of a store opening on Black Friday, there is a lot of pushing and shoving. There is grabbing of items, some people, I'm just getting an image where people tear underwear in half trying to keep it for themselves.
That was a great deal on a pair of underwear.
It would have been.
Yeah.
I got it half off.
It's like I was just going to say Solomon, you each get to have one half of the underwear.
Right. But who can use it now that we've both split it evenly?
Yeah.
So yes, you're not going to shop in person, but you shop online. That's the other funny thing. It used to be Black Friday in person, Cyber Monday online. Now it's cyber deals all the time.
Yeah, it's not just cyber deals all the time. It's like every deal is available all week long. So GameStop, for example, has Black Friday deals that are already in effect. They start on Sunday, so it's all week long.
This is where I'm going to forget when Black Friday even is supposed to be. It's supposed to be the day after Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
And it's supposed to be on a Friday.
I mean, well, Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday, so that's
right.
why.
That's the way you remember. But you're right. It's Black Friday is on a Monday now, and it's in a different month even.
Yeah, it's a very weird concept because now it's losing all meaning. So now Black Friday is just a term.
Right.
It is not actually referring to the sale on the day after Thanksgiving.
Right. It does make me light up, though. Every time I see Black Friday. If they put Black Friday on a box of cereal in the grocery store, I'd be like, ooh, this one's special.
Yeah, and I don't know the origins of even the term Black Friday. I don't know why it's called Black Friday. It's probably, if we looked at it, it would be some racist term and none of us should be using it or something.
Isn't that always the way?
Yeah.
I know you're joking, but I wouldn't be surprised if they got the color black and they decided to make... But see, Black Friday is a holiday. It's not a holiday. Black Friday is a special day. And
it's a capitalistic consumerism holiday.
So how could it possibly have been rooted negatively? Thanksgiving, Black Friday. I have an idea. So
Thanksgiving's got some dark connotations to it too. I don't know.
Yeah, really. The whole weekend is cursed.
Yeah.
But it starts with colonialism and it ends with capitalism. Yeah. So here's what I was going to say.
And Cyber Monday is when the
robots take
over the world, like Terminator style.
Well, my guess is going to be the reason they call it Black Friday is because you're supposed to get up before the sun is up. Remember that? Did you remember? I remember being outside of Circuit City. And it was 4 a.m., so it was dark.
You did an in-person, early morning thing?
Yes. I think I got up at 4 to get there at 5 or something. But it was Christmas. I could see my breath in front of me. It was dark. All for what? A television?
No, you probably got Runaway Bride on DVD for $8. You're like, I can't believe I can get this.
The soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah. No, because I used to think, they need Black Friday for procrastinators. It comes on Wednesday afterwards or something like that.
Right. I missed the deal.
Yeah. No, the whole thing is it's very bizarre when we look at it because it is, people get so into it. And you were saying deals happen, all year long, and they do. You kind of can get most deals all of the time anyway. And
you know what's happening now? I'm desensitized to the deal. So on Black Friday, you have to be giving it away. I want 3 for 1, the price of 1 on a Black Friday. I can't just have 30% off.
Yeah, it has to be really good. It used to be like, oh man, I used to get a TV for a nickel on Black Friday, and now it's like, oh, I saved 10%. I get the employee discount.
I got a slight discount. I notice a lot of products are being given away for free if you will just talk about them on your social media website. And I have Curly Comedy is on various platforms, and I have a different set of followings on each one. And so even on my ones with smaller followings, like my little nail blog, people will say, hey, if you take this for free and just talk about it a little bit. And I don't want to be a part of your marketing team.
Yeah.
I would rather pay full price for your products than get them for free and then have to do actual labor. It takes hours to edit a video sometimes.
It's kind of like what they tell kids to do. Like, hey, if you just sell all these cookies, or you sell the books, or you sell these Christmas items,
right,
you can earn prizes. And
the prize is like a plushie that's 59 cents.
Yeah, it's something that you would have got out of one of those claw machines.
Right.
And it's like definitely... I can see it as an adult as a scam, but as a kid, I thought, oh, this is great. Mm-hmm. But then I would get into it. Like, I would actually try to sell the items, and I was always a terrible salesperson. Every job that I've ever had, any type of stuff as a kid, the only people that ever bought something was probably like my parents. I earned...
And they really had to twist your arm to get them
really
to sell
did.
it to them.
Yeah. And
come on, son, ask me if I want this.
I know.
Do you want it? You're playing video games.
Yeah, like, I don't know. And they... The only prize I ever remember earning was a tricolored pencil. So it was just a pencil that had like 3 different colored leads.
Ooh, and it had 3 sides. It was one of those impossible to sharpen pencils.
Yes. It probably was something where it wasn't even something I earned. It probably just came free. It was what you were supposed to use to fill out the form for people.
Now you called that your prize, or your parents did. That's sweet. I would sell Girl Scout cookies. And the way we killed 2 birds with 1 stone, I guess, or the way I got the most people signed up is by posting my sign up sheet in a college dorm, whatever you call that front area. I just remember
the lobby.
The lobby. Thank you. Yeah. I remember I'm from Indianapolis, and I went onto Butler campus, and I remember posting it on the little bulletin board and seeing kids that looked like they could have been cast onto the Cosby Show. Like they look like, I should say, a different world.
Yeah.
But anyway, same thing. It was just like cool haircuts, cross colors, and I just was like, wow, these are adults. It was that
glasses that have a sunglass flip up.
Yep, little sunglasses that flip up to reveal glasses. It reminded me of being in a music video for Arrested Development. I felt very cool. So anyway, did I sell a lot of cookies? I sold enough without having to ask people person to person, but I didn't ever remember getting a prize. I got badges for my Girl Scout efforts. I don't remember actual vacations
do any
Boy
Scouts or Cub Scouts or anything like that. But I thought you were going to say the most I sold was when I was in college and still in Girl Scouts, and I would sell them to my dorm mates. And
things. They didn't have any money. Yeah. I couldn't sell to them. But I left Girl Scouts when I was 12.
Oh,
I graduated. I retired.
I truly have no idea what the age is for Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts, because there's brownies for girls, right? That's the equivalent to Cub Scouts for boys, and I don't know the age.
I felt like I was 8 when I was a brownie, and then 9 I became a Girl Scout or something like that, and then 12 I left it behind.
I mean, all that sounds fun. My parents didn't let me do any of that kind of stuff.
I need a bingo sheet for every episode that you say my parents didn't let me.
My parents didn't.
Things that Luke's parents didn't let him do. Join Cub Scouts. Ding.
Yeah, pretty much, did it cost money? Then I didn't do it.
Right.
So I didn't get to play Little League
More
Baseball.
Like, were you exposed to the outer world?
Yeah. Well, I truly think there were some things that were religious-based, and there were some things that were money-based. And after-school activities were money-based. So no baseball, no Cub Scouts, nothing like that.
Right. And I'm becoming the same way with my own kid, our child. I'm just like, this costs money, and it's essentially you're paying for someone to watch them. So it's like you're paying for childcare plus an extracurricular thing that they're not going to remember. Doesn't mean they shouldn't have extracurricular activities, but you have to do that cost and benefit analysis.
Yeah, well, I get it now as a parent when something pops up and it's like, we're going to play checkers after school once a week for, the first semester. Would you like to join? You're like, sure. How much is it? And they're like, only $7,000. I'm like, where did you come up with this number?
Where do they come up with these crazy numbers? And also, no shade to the schools in general. Schools are wonderful institutions, but in America, I don't know what we're doing wrong, because in our school system, I have been hit up for money more often than I ever knew was possible. Like, I don't know if my mom was experiencing this, because I went to a Montessori school, but it's just like, do you want to be part of this event? Yeah. And then submit this money, or donate to this cause. And it doesn't mean I don't think people should, but I truly think it's because, they're just like, yeah, why not? Let's see how much I can get out of you.
Well, we even had one where it was like, they're going to do a lice test at school, which we had when we were kids. Like they just do that in elementary schools. And then it was like, would you like to send, I don't even think it said, would you like? It just like, and send your $10 donation with this if you agree to have the lice test. I'm like, what are...
Yeah, are you still going to check her if we don't give the donation?
I know. Are we just where are we sending the kids to a clinic for this to be done?
Yeah, no, I think you're paying for lice to be put in their hair so that they can have something to remove.
I know. That's like, I never heard of that before, where it's like you have to now donate just to have them checked for something that was always checked at schools anyway.
Right. Now, again, I'm glad they're saying donation and not a fee. But yeah.
A mandatory donation is a fee.
But I'm frugal. I come from frugal lineage, and I don't like being asked for extra money when I already pay enough for this and that. I do remember as a kid we got free combs with our lice checks.
Oh, the one that was used for your hair, probably.
They're like, you go
this.
ahead and keep that.
Yeah, we don't really.
I just realized lice checks sounds with rice checks, which is why I want to thank our sponsor.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We don't have sponsors.
Not yet, but rice checks, if you're out there. Wheat checks, we're okay with that as well.
We've got great puns to rickroll into brand names, guys.
Yeah. Now, did you ever know anybody with lice? Did you ever have lice?
I really don't want to stay on lice as a topic.
Okay.
Do you have a fun anecdote about?
No.
One more thing about Black Friday is in New York City, there are very few times where it doesn't already feel like the inside of a Walmart on Black Friday in this town. You know what I mean? We're already shoulder to shoulder and fighting over things. Whose turn was it to get in through the door, etc. So
they never have any stock here either. So like, you go to Target on a normal day, and then it's like, hey, so where's the paper towels? I'm like, oh, we sold out of those last week. And you're like,
right.
Well, when do you get more? I don't know.
I know. When do you restock?
Yeah.
I just started here.
Yeah, there's like one set of sheets in the entire place. And you're like, I don't want these. Do you have any, I see labels for things.
The other thing that gets me is when something is in the wrong spot, it'll say like, how much are these Kleenex? And it'll say paper towels, $20. And you're like, well, how much am I paying for this?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the scanners never work.
Scanners don't work.
Yeah, you gotta go hunting around for a scanner.
But people don't know, so it's always a big reveal at the checkout.
Yeah, and there is a difference in attitude at retail stores in New York City that isn't everywhere else. Like, retail stores in general, look, I get it. It's not an easy job. I've had friends. I've worked in retail as well. It's not a high-paying job. You're not overly invested. You're like, a lot of times, for me, I started in retail when I was in high school. My first job was at a video game store.
Cool.
Then I moved up to working the loading dock at Sears. And
Retail. Yeah, you're like a retail king.
Oh yeah.
You were on your way to being the crazy Luke. Giving away some deals.
When I worked at the video game store, the manager there, because I only worked my senior year of high school. My dad was kind of like, focus on academics until then. I was like, well, but I want some money. So he's like, well, as long as your grades don't suffer, you can get a job your senior year. And so I was then applying for colleges. And the manager there goes, you don't want to go to college. Don't go to college. I would think you should go into the manager training program here.
Wow. Did he want you to make money, or what was his angle?
I have, in retrospect, I'm like, why would you tell someone not to go to college and to work? And it's the precursor to GameStop. The place was called Fungoland, which I'm not exactly sure if they got bought out by GameStop or they just kind of bought out other stores and then turned into GameStop. And so why, someone would suggest, you know what, you don't need college. What you need to do is get in the ground floor here at GameStop, essentially.
Yeah, work your way up.
Work your way up to manager or maybe even regional manager. And it's, being in Indiana, I think that sometimes people's foresight for what can be done is a little limited.
Just because it's Indiana, or just because of like that area where you
Probably
were?
where the area. I mean, I was on the far east side of Indianapolis, and it's like, I think that, they probably were just like, you don't want to be one of those college boys.
Yeah, you're gonna leave the state. You can work your way up to go downtown.
Yeah. So
No, I hear you. It's that whole theory of crabs in a bucket, just keeping the other crabs from walking out.
yeah, and but the point with all that is, I understand that retail is hard. I've had friends that worked Best Buy. One of my best friends worked Best Buy well into like adulthood. Like he became like the manager of the entire place. And that meant he had to work every Black Friday, every sale that was going to happen. And so that meant he, especially and they've kind of backed off of this a little bit, but for a few years there, they were going, we're now starting the Black Friday sale on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. It used to be when I was a kid, literally nothing was open on Thanksgiving. And that's why you had the Black Friday. And the same was true about Christmas.
That's right.
Nothing was open on Christmas. And if you had to have a return or something, you got a gift that didn't have batteries and you needed batteries, you had to wait until the next day.
It was a ghost town out
there.
Yeah,
you couldn't get anything. Like maybe gas was available or something like that, but you couldn't get that. And so then for a while they changed that, where it's like, we're going to open up on Thanksgiving at noon. And so he missed family obligations. He missed all of that. Mm-hmm. But that being said, that retail is a hard job. Mm-hmm. It's also draws a lot of people that couldn't care less about the consumers themselves.
Right.
Especially in New York, where they're just like, huh? What do you want?
Right.
I don't know.
I'm stuck here all day. I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah.
You're in a hurry. You got to get out of here. You're going to wait on my time.
Yeah.
No, this is a tangent, but bad work advice. One of my early jobs was in a financial institution where I was an internal auditor. I was just temping there, but they had an opening and I was there for about a year, so that they let me apply to work there. And to this day, I don't understand what I did there. It doesn't mean I didn't do anything. It meant I never felt like I had a grasp on it. Like, am I doing this right? But one funny thing was, the man that was my boss found out that I did stand up and was pursuing it on the side. Now, I think I told everybody, this is my career. I'm going to be a stand-up. Yeah. But he always viewed it as a hobby. And he specifically pulled me aside and he's like, you got to let go of that hobby. This is where your real dreams are and careers. I tell my son this all the time. And I left that meeting, I said thank you to him, but I left that meeting feeling like, oh, I feel bad for that guy's son.
Yeah.
Who wants to be whatever he wants to be, a DJ?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
What I think people don't understand is the people that are really committed to, they would call it being committed to their dreams, but I would say committed to their passions, is that when somebody like that boss comes along and tells you you don't want to follow your passion, it just pushes us further into, oh, I'm done here. Like the clock is now ticking. Mm-hmm. I had somebody do that, I think I was right out of college. I took a job at a bank, mm-hmm. which is also retail, essentially, because it was a cashier or teller.
Yes.
And so that's just basically like you take people's stuff and then you try to get them to sign up for a credit card.
You as a bank teller is so funny to me.
Oh, I had long hair at the time. It's when I had long hair, and the manager kept trying to get me to cut my hair. Like, you need to cut your hair. You really need to be more businesslike, and so that you can. I see great potential in you that you can move up here. And it's like, I'd already started, I hadn't started yet to dabble in stand up, but like not shortly thereafter, like I dressed up as Austin Powers at the Christmas party for the bank.
Hilarious.
And went through and did the accent and people were really enjoying it. And I was like, that was one of the earlier touches with, being funny for a group, Yes. And then I started stand up not that long after. But when she just kept trying to pressure me into, cut your hair, and let's get you in like the manager training program. Everybody in Indiana wanted me to be in the manager training program for whatever.
They saw something in you.
They saw something, but they saw the wrong thing.
They saw a very low ceiling for you.
Yes, they saw.
That was higher than where you were.
Well, I think she also said you could be branch manager or move up to regional manager. No. Everybody wanted me to be regional manager.
I do want to say there's nothing wrong with these jobs. It's just funny when you want to be an artist for a living that you couldn't think of anything worse than to be stuck in the same place, showing up the same spot.
Well, that's the thing. There isn't anything
and looking looking
the
a certain
jobs.
way you don't want to look.
Yeah, and I would have worked there longer. That's the thing. The point is not these are terrible jobs and that everybody should be ashamed of it. It's not. Take pride. I was taking pride in doing it.
Yeah.
It was the pushing me to stop doing the things that made me who I was. Like,
right.
For even like cutting my hair, which I always had it up. I didn't have it like down and flowing in my face.
I wondered about that because people are maybe picturing Big Lebowski hair. No, it was like, who was the Leonard Skinner hair? It was long.
It was
when
pretty
I met
long,
you.
yeah. So, but I always kept it back. I kept it in a professional look. And
Like Salt Bay.
Salt Bay, yes. And nowadays, people would probably put it in a man bun.
Right. You never had it on top of your head.
Yeah.
You always had a little slick
Yeah.
back. Antonio Banderas.
It was too sexy. Too sexy. No, too sexy. That's probably the problem. She was like, this is too sexy for a
She
bank.
couldn't
You can't-
handle it, Luke.
Yeah.
She's like, please, for the love of all that's holy, just
Right.
cut your hair and look like a dweeb.
Right. And I think that you can be passionate about working at a bank. And I have friends that work at banks, and they are great at what they do. It's like their personalities work so well with that. It's like my best friend's a bank manager, and it's like it's perfect for him. I'm so proud of him because it's like it fits his personality of trying to help people with their finances, and he's great one-on-one with people, and it's perfect. And I was okay working in an environment like that. It's when somebody starts saying you're wrong for what you are passionate about. Enjoy what I'm passionate about, and what you want is silly or trite, and what I want is the real world.
Right, and maybe they're worried for you. They're like, there's just no future in that. They can't wrap their minds around how you can make it work. And truly, it's a really, really hard business to be in entertainment. So I get that. I get that concern. And in hindsight, maybe I won't be so resentful of that boss who tried to get me on the right path. But needless to say, this financial institution, it went under.
Yeah.
Like in a big way during what was that? The movie The Big Short?
Yeah.
It was based on banks like that.
Yeah.
So
it was the place.
So I should have been giving him advice. Like, no, you need to get you a side hustle, my friend.
You might want to look into stand-up, brother, because
you're going to have a lot of jokes on this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
If you think about people just going to places that they fit in. So being a bank manager is something that's amazing if you fit into that. If you're the puzzle piece that fits there, then you can be really happy.
Well, that's funny because I always bonded with the people I worked with. So I liked every job, and I felt like they all ended prematurely before I was ready to leave them. They either got fired or they went under, the economy went in the toilet or something. But I always knew I wasn't a good fit. I knew when I was in a spot where, I'm not made for this and I am struggling here. But I still looked forward to it. It was the people. Like, I'm a people person. So if I had the same people to say good morning to, I'm like that way in our neighborhood. Like, I just want to be able to make eye contact with the same 5 folks and say good morning to them.
Yeah.
And then I'm happy. I'm happy as a clam. But yeah, when it comes to like doing what you really feel like you're making an impact or you're growing or you're, reaching.
Being good at something is true too. Like I was a waiter for about 4 days at Bob Evans.
Wow, that's worse than me.
And I was terrible.
I was a bad waitress and I got fired, but it lasted longer than 4 days.
I didn't get fired. I quit. I said, this isn't for me. And they were upset at me. They were like,
you didn't give it a chance.
You didn't give it a chance. Like, we took all this time to train you and you just got out of training and now you're quitting. And it's like, I think sometimes you have to know, like, hey, this isn't for me. And it's not for me to get really good at this thing is going to take more effort than, I'm willing to give for this particular job. Like Bob Evans, I was dropping stuff all the time. Drop a whole tray of food.
Oh, that's bad.
And I know. And like, and everything.
Did anybody clap?
Yeah, I know how everything was like. Well, first of all, it's a bunch of old people at Bob Evans.
Were angry.
And so all of that work, whatever I did to work to clean stuff up or, to like try to make things right. And then even when I nailed it, I get $1 tip. Because that's what old people tip with $1. And I'm like, $1? Like, I'm going to walk away with $13 after working this whole day?
They lived through the Great Depression. They couldn't fathom giving more than $1.
No.
Do you know how far $1 went in their day? I tried this thing for a while. I don't know if you remember this. We would take our road trips and we'd pass a Bob Evans, and I would call it Bob Evans. It never caught on.
Well, first of all, you only did it in your car with your mom and sister, so there's no way for it to spread
you.
like wildfire.
What do you mean? No, I said it with you.
With
like
me?
I was trying to make you
this.
laugh. I called it Bob Evans. You didn't remember that? It never took off. That's too bad.
Yeah. Maybe I didn't even understand that you were making a joke. I was like, I think that she's glitching on me here.
She needs food. She's losing her mind.
No.
Well, that financial job I brought up. Well, internal auditing, by the way, is a very strange job to have because you are within your own financial company trying to check in on other departments to make sure they're doing their job right. And during the holidays, they had a raffle. It was a big celebration. Everybody's having a good time. And people were invited to attend and even contribute to the raffle. But I put in, $10? And I won. I won the big prize, 300 bones.
Wow.
And I just remember the look on everyone's faces because it was not anybody from the auditing department. It was whatever this department was. They're like, yeah, come on up, have some eggnog. And I came and I participated and then I won, and it was just quiet. Like, no cheers. They cheered for anybody who won the raffle. They didn't cheer for me. And I said, thank you. And I took it and I left.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Grab a couple shrimp cocktails on your way out. Peace.
Because you're like a narc, you're like a hall monitor. You know what I mean? You're just not wanted when you're checking up on people's work.
Yeah, I don't think no, that's not true. I have won a contest before.
Ooh.
At least one that I can think of, which was I won an Edgerrin James signed jersey, which he was the running back for the Colts I think he was drafted in 1999. So he's probably there in 99 through like 2005.
Paint the picture. Where were you when you won this?
I don't remember what it was. Like, I think it was just one of those online, raffle type of things. It wasn't even put money in. It was just like contest, like beyond a Doritos bag or something like that.
Oh yeah. Those are fun.
And I won that. But who really was really good at winning contests in my family was my mom.
Oh.
At least for a little period of time. It was kind of like the late 90s. Mm-hmm. She won, I believe, at least 3 different contests at Meijer.
Do you remember what the prizes were?
I do. The first one I think was just a camera or something like that. Nothing great, just a camera.
Remember cameras?
Yeah. It wasn't on a phone.
You couldn't make a phone call with them.
Yeah, it had film. It was very, archaic. But then she won a television.
Ooh.
So we had that in our kitchen because it wasn't like a huge television. It was, a tube television, CRT, that was probably like 27 inches or so.
Oh, that could seem big.
Yeah,
then.
That was a big TV back then, but it was something where I think that we had already started getting. I think we had a projection television because those for some reason were popular.
Wow, you guys are fancy. I'm looking around in our kitchen. I don't know where we would even put a TV that size. Like, we already have a microwave.
I know that's the funny thing is that you can have a much bigger screen, and it takes up a lot less room than these small TVs
with a projector
that had the tube, and everything. And so that was in the kitchen for a lot of years. And she also won a freezer, like a standalone freezer that goes into your like garage.
Cool.
So, and all of that was like within like 18 months of each other. She just won it. She would fill out all those forms, and I don't even know if places do this anymore.
Is it a survey?
No, I think it was something. So Meijer being like a Walmart, they used to do this at stores, and I don't see this as much anymore. Where it would just be like, "Hey, just fill out your information." They probably just getting your information for a mailing list or something like that, so they could send you ads. But there was always a prize sitting there, like you could win this thing, you could win a television, or you could win a freezer, and sometimes it'd be a car. Like you could win a car.
Oh, I love it.
And she never won the car. That would have been great, but. She did win those other things because she would fill them out every time, and maybe other people were not filling out. So maybe there's 1,000 entries, and she won.
Either that, or she did like a special origami fold.
She did.
So that when you put it in the cardboard box and they reach in, they feel hers.
It could be like she froze it. Like that's there's this whole conspiracy theory about Patrick Ewing when he was drafted to the Knicks. There's a lottery for the top pick in the draft, and he was going to be the top pick. And New York was one of the bad, teams that was in the lottery. Everybody had the same chance at the time, so they just had big cards with the names of the teams on it.
Right.
And there was always this conspiracy theory that they froze the Knicks card because the NBA wanted Patrick Ewing to be in the big market.
Okay.
And so that
how do they make it happen?
Yeah, when the commissioner reached his hand and he's like, "Oh, that's the cold one. That's the Knicks." And so
conspiracy. I didn't realize the commissioner was in on it. I thought you were just going to say that makes it more appealing.
Everybody has to be in on it. It's a conspiracy,
You're right,
so that's
you're
between
right.
2 or more people.
Do you remember when that was the line for some Nicolas Cage movie? Snake Eyes, maybe? Like in the trailer, he just could be 2 or 3. I'm going to say it wrong. Welcome back to Abby's impressions that are way off. 2 or more people makes a conspiracy, right? Do you remember that?
I do. I don't know if that was Snake Eyes or what that was, but yeah.
I know I never saw the movie. I just memorized the trailer or that one line from it, and I looked forward to it every time it came on the radio.
I did see Snake Eyes. It was really bad. I kind of confused it with 8mm because it was another Nicolas Cage movie that came out at the same time.
And what about the one where he's in a car with Angelina Jolie and she has dreads?
I don't know, is that Gone in 60 Seconds?
Yep.
Okay.
Good job. We know our Nick Cage films.
Which is my brother's favorite movie of all time is Gone in 60 Seconds. My brother is the doctor of psychology, and his favorite movie is Gone in 60 Seconds, Transporter, those type of movies.
He's an enigma wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in a mystery.
It makes perfect sense when you hear it explained, which is when you're a doctor of psychology and you deal with heavy things all day, he wants to shut his brain off and just watch somebody drive fast.
That makes sense.
And beat somebody up. He doesn't want to... He don't want to think. He doesn't want to follow a plot.
Right. I call that popcorn for the mind.
Yeah.
You just want to eat a mindless little snack. I'm like that with, I'm so stressed out, like I'm still learning ways to deal with my stress levels, but my go-to thing to watch, to consume with entertainment is Murder, She Wrote, which I think most of our listeners know right by now. And it's because it's the same thing every time. It doesn't matter what episode you're watching. It follows a beautiful pattern and the characters are all familiar. And I just look like a little teddy bear sitting on a shelf when I watch it. I'm like, this is good for me.
It's very weird. Your mouth moves like Teddy Ruxpin too. It's like,
the fact that you could hear his mouth move was such a turn off to me. I never owned one, but when I played with a friend's Teddy Ruxpin, I couldn't get past the...
I had a Teddy Ruxpin. In fact, that was probably about our daughter's age is when I got that, and I loved it. But it was, and for people that don't even know what we're talking about, you can Google this, but it was a teddy bear that you put video or audio cassettes into the back of, and he would mouth the words, so he would tell you a story.
Cassette player.
Yeah, he was a cassette player with a mouth, and so it would, as his mouth would move, you would hear the motor. So it'd go.
Once upon a time, there was a girl.
So.
Yeah, those are so sweet. I love that concept. I meant to tell you, like 2 clicks back, I forget what we were discussing, but I introduced our daughter to The Price is Right, and she loved it.
Really?
She was guessing the car prices. She was cheering for when they spun the wheel. I hope they don't go over. It was so cute.
Oh.
I'm like, that's how they get you.
No, that's fun. It's fun.
Oh, it was about prizes. We were talking about winning prizes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
your mom who won at Meyer, yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense to see, it's funny to see her have her first things and kind of see and hear these things, because I remember she just watched Home Alone, and I remember seeing Home Alone when I was a kid for the very first time. That was one, the Home Alone VHS was something I got for Christmas one year, or my birthday. It was one of the two, because my birthday is fairly close to Christmas, and that being a big deal, and it was so funny, and those are most of my firsts. It's like I know some people are like, a friend was talking about how he took his daughter to go see a concert or something like that. And I think some of my nieces and nephews take their kids to see concerts, and I never got any of that. It's another thing. What didn't your parents let you do? Go to concerts?
My bingo card's almost full.
Yeah.
The best part about Home Alone for her was anytime Kevin was sassy, you know, say goodnight, Kevin. Good night, Kevin. She'd look at me and beam like, did you hear that one, Mom? That was a good one. And
that was a thing kind of in the 80s, especially in sitcoms, but this transferred into the movie too, where it's like kids being sassy to adults.
Right.
Is something that was very...
Yeah, finally getting to talk back.
Yeah.
Well, so for concerts, I did go to a concert, but it wasn't ever the experience that makes me want to do it a ton as an adult and then introduce my kid to it. So yeah, you and I are super nostalgic, but that's not something that we would necessarily like push on a kid. I push apple picking.
Yeah.
She enjoys that with me. You can't be bothered. You've gone enough in your life.
Yeah, I picked all the apples I need to pick, is the way I put it.
Right.
It's like
you're over this this big con of getting people to pay way too much for apples.
I know.
But
I gotta go pay to do the work for you. Okay, that sounds
But concerts, what was your first concert?
I think the very first, I think it was in high school. Maybe I went to see. Yeah, I've only gone to a couple concerts really ever in my life, maybe 3 or 4.
Lawrence Welk.
Lawrence Welk.
This is where we reveal our age.
That would be actually something my parents would have let me go see. Like because they would let me do the church concerts, which were like, I didn't really care about that at all.
Were those outdoor, like Deer
No,
Creek?
it would have been in the church.
Okay.
Yeah, church sanctuary.
Live performances.
But I went and saw the Goo Goo Dolls when I was in high school, and there was
Goo Goo.
Yeah, who was their opening act?
Oh wait, can I guess?
Yeah, you can guess.
That won't mess you up?
No, there's two opening acts that they had, and you would know both of them.
Okay, Eve 6?
No, but it is around that time. And you would know. I can give you a hint.
Yeah, give me a hint.
He just wanted to fly.
Oh my goodness, Sugar Ray.
Yeah, Sugar Ray was
Cool.
the middle act, and the opening act was Fastball.
Oh man, I'll be there to see Fastball.
Yeah, well,
I think out of the 3 that appear on the radio, I liked them all. You know, I was singing to them, but Fastball I still play today.
Yeah, that was actually a fairly big concert in terms of like every act had already had a #1 hit, I think, on the radio that you had heard.
That's great.
But it was a Goo Goo Dolls concert. Mm-hmm. It was not it wasn't like they're all co-headlining. It was like, we're going to see a long set from Goo Goo Dolls, and we're going to hear the hits from the other people.
Yes, right. No, it's great. It's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and I think I went when I was in college to go see Fuel.
Nice. I still don't know their music. Like, I'd have to hear it.
At the time, they had
it's heavy guitar, right?
Yeah, they were a hard rock band, and so
the gravelly voices.
What was his name? Buck Cherry or Cherry Poppin' something was the
Cherry
name.
Poppin' Daddies is different than
I know it was one of the Cherry
Eagle-Eye Cherry.
No, I know. I think it was Buck Cherry.
Why are there so many Cherry bands?
I don't. Everybody thought that was probably so cool at the time, like Cherry Lozenge. I mean, just all this
Cherry
stuff.
Mary Muffin, great toy.
So that was a concert I saw when I was in college with my housemates, and we went and saw that at the Murat.
Ooh, that's our fancy place in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that was like the Egyptian Room. I
Beautiful.
think is what it is.
No, I saw Fiona Apple there.
Oh, that would have been a fun one to see.
Yeah.
And then when I was in college, I saw. Why am I blanking on his name? Because he's Mr. Indiana.
Mr. Indiana.
Yes.
Gomer Pyle.
I saw Gomer Pyle.
He would sing Back Home Again in Indiana at the Indy 500.
No, John Cougar Mellencamp.
Of course.
But he was just John Mellencamp.
He is Mr. Indiana.
Yeah, well, he's definitely Mr. Bloomington. That's where I was in school, was in Indiana University, Bloomington.
Or as I affectionately call him, Mr. Cigarettes.
Yes, Mr. Cigarette. Well, he looks like he smells like cigarettes. Like, there's just some guys where you're like, you look like you smell like cigarettes.
About all my cigarettes.
Yes. So I saw him twice. Once because he was doing a concert in the arena, where the assembly hall where the basketball team plays, and they said if you just park, do the parking, the car parking, then you can see the concert for free. And I was like, okay, I'll do that.
That's great.
And I went and saw that, and then the other day, another time I saw him was he just decided to do a pop-up concert in the middle of this meadow.
Oh.
Right on campus, and it was a block from where I lived. And so I was like, oh, what's that noise? And we just went over, and it was John Mellencamp playing a impromptu concert right in the middle of
Usually it's students tinkering on their dumb acoustic guitars, and this time you're like, who's making all this noise? And it's a real
I could
celeb.
smell the cigarettes. So I was like,
Follow your nose to the scent of cigarettes. Well, That was more than your first concert, but I'll tell you my first 50 concerts as well.
Well, no, those are all the 4 concerts I've ever seen in my life.
Right. My first one was Rage Against the Machine and Wu-Tang Clan, and I can't remember if they co-headlined or if one opened for the other. But no, now I remember Wu-Tang opened for Rage. Wait, I still don't know. But I remember what happened was one of Wu-Tang members lost his shoe, and someone in the audience wanted to keep it, and so they started rapping, "Give me my shoe, stupid MF, give me my shoe," and he got the whole crowd to sing it. And I think, some muscle-bound security guard got the shoe back.
I feel like that kind of takes away some of the tough image of Wu-Tang Clan. It was like, come on, guys. Give me my shoe back.
Give my shoe back, guys.
Come on, guys.
Either that or, well, it was more like, you're not going to make money off of my shoe. I sell my shoes on eBay. You don't sell my shoes on eBay. I mean, that's a man after my own heart. I'm the same way. But yeah, I felt so cool. I loved it. I probably wore a choker to that concert.
Oh, a choker. Wow.
That's right. I looked good in chokers. I have a really long neck for the viewers at home. Yes. For the listeners. If you were picturing me with a short neck, you were way off.
No.
I'm a swan, babies.
Yeah, long neck. How big was that choker?
Wasn't big. They were all black plastic zigzag.
That's true. Well, by the way, this episode was
maybe
back to the 90s here.
Yeah, really. It was heavily imbued with the 90s. Maybe it was a headband and I just wore it around my neck. Now, in hindsight, I can't remember. I've actually been in a Black Friday commercial.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Do you remember? And it was great because I was a news anchor reporting on Black Friday for a very famous department store. And what I liked about it at the time was I was like, the tables have turned. I'm not the shopper. You're the shopper. I'm making you spend money. You're not making me spend money. I probably spent money that year. But still, it was nice to have the tables turn.
Yeah, it's cool to see you in that commercial. Because I remember we went actually back to Indiana for that Thanksgiving, and your commercial popped up while we were doing like Thanksgiving at my sister's house. It was just happened to be on television maybe during the football game or something.
That's right.
And everybody like cheered for you.
Well, you're blending 2 separate Thanksgivings. I was on another Thanksgiving commercial, where I'm at a dinner table. I don't even remember what that was for, but I'm serving food. I was amazed because I was expecting at the time, and I thought, oh man, it's gonna be so hard to get booked while I'm pregnant. But it works for like family at Thanksgiving. What's more family like than someone who's gonna have grow her family? But that one I remember because everybody gathered in the living room. They're like, wow, it's your commercial. Yeah, that felt great. So anyway, both years, both commercials, both families.
That happens, because you've been in several commercials, quite a few commercials over the years, and that's just part of this career is doing stuff like that. And it's interesting because I was watching a commercial the other day. Like, have you ever been in a commercial with an animal? Because I don't remember.
I've auditioned for commercials where they're like, do you like dogs? Are you allergic to dogs? And I'm like, yeah, I love dogs. I have 2 at home. So I've never gotten to book one, sadly.
It's funny to see them though, because I was watching this dog, and
I know what you're gonna say.
Okay, you tell me.
They don't look where they're supposed to look.
They never look like they're actually part of the family that they're supposed to be with. They look like
they're there against their will.
They do. They always look anxious, kind of like, well, what's happening here? And they're clearly always staring off screen, off camera to whoever the real owner is,
right? The trainer. This is up to the director to get the right angle on this one, because the other thing I noticed is that, when the actor on camera wants to be affectionate with the dog's not quite responding the way a normal dog would. They let themselves be pet, but they're not like into it, wagging their tail, ears back, or nuzzling the owner. They're looking away at. And do I sit still now? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's
the guy's
tense.
off screen holding a pork chop, and they're like, yeah, I can't wait to get that. And the person's petting them, and they're like, yeah, don't bother me. Don't bother me. I got to get to that pork chop.
I did host a show where, for whatever segment, we needed a piglet. Like, I was babysitting a piglet all day or something in the show. And their owner, the pet handlers are very intense about the pet being able to focus on them. Because it's like, well, if I can't be the one that commands their attention, then they're not trained properly and they're not trustworthy. So it's not really all that fun to work with the pet handlers either, because they're just not into you. They're like, okay, and you're like, can I pet your cute little animal? How old is he? What's his name? And they're like, yeah. It's his break.
Everybody's like Ralphie in line for Santa Claus. Yeah. No.
Don't bother me. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So anyway, let me peel back the curtain there for what it's really like to be able to interact with those pets. You love them. You wish they would love you. They don't, and their owners don't.
Yeah, it's kind of like real life.
Thanks for joining us today. If you had a great time, let us know on social. Follow Kid is in School on Twitter and The Kid is in School on Instagram. Subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. Be sure to throw us one of those 5-star ratings and share with your friends. Oh, and do it quickly before the kid gets home.